It's Monday again. How did that happen so quick? And it's time to make some plans for my sewing week together. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my little sewing space. Yes, it's Monday where I normally look at what I've made in the week gone by and plan for the coming week. So we're going to do it anyway, even though you've seen most of what I did last week. We'll go in depth a little bit more with them today, and then we'll make some plans for the week, and maybe I'll stick to them. So last week I had a mare of a week. It came out good in the end, but there were some dramas along the way. But the good news is that one thing I've been trying to get done for ages and ages and keep putting off is to finish the Amelia bomber jacket. Now, before I show you the Amelia, I have to fess up and apologise. Somebody called me out on it, and rightly so. On one of my vlogs last week, I said the Amelia jacket was my handmade wardrobe pattern. Absolutely, it is not. Sarah from My Handmade Wardrobe does really detailed instructions for her patterns, so I apologise for that one. It's actually a wardrobe by me. So, what am I going on about? Well, the instructions for the Amelia jacket are not very good at all, and that's why I had a bit of a mare with a plain old, looked simple bomber jacket. What did I struggle with? It was the zip insertion. And it wasn't that I couldn't insert a zip, let's be real about this. It was the fact the stages I followed the pattern, and when it got to putting the zip in, it wouldn't work because some of the seams were already sewn up where the zip should be. What else did I do wrong? It didn't tell you when you were putting the cuffing along the bottom to fold it over and press it double and attach it as a double layer. And because I was at Sewing Social when I did it, I was literally focused, laser focused on following the instructions. So I sewed that on as a single layer and then I had to undo it all again. Little niggly things that weren't in the instructions, and the line drawings and the detail wasn't very clear at all. So here we go. I've finished my Amelia bomber jacket. Really pleased with it in the end. The only niggle I've got, and there's nothing I could do about it, is I would have loved to have pattern matched this pattern along the front. But I was limited with the fabric. I got a remnant of the very last piece of this fabric from Guthrie & Garnet, so there was nothing I could do about it. I just had to do my best. And yeah, let's just not look at the lack of pattern matching on the front. And apart from that, I'm pleased with it. The zip's gone in. It got taken out about 3 times, but I persevered and I got there in the end. I'm pleased with the fit. The sleeves are the right length. So this has been done in a quilted fabric, and then the bodice of this jacket is lined, but the sleeves aren't. So the neckband has been done in some cream cuffing fabric, which is on the sleeves and on the hem as well. It's got really nicely fitted side pockets on it. Love how the pockets are put in. Everything was going great until it came to the cuffing and the zip, and then it all went so wrong. But I've done it. I've persevered. Now, so I'm all about finishes at the moment. So we've turned the jacket inside out, and that's the inside of the fabric. You could have used that side. I wanted the green background, but actually that looks really nice. So I'm pleased with the finish on the inside. The sleeves, the bodice is lined, and then the lining is used to encase the raw seam all the way around the sleeve head. I'm fessing up because I've done a little bit of overlocking at the end of the cuffs. That's the only cheat overlocking I've done on this. And then the inseams, I've used some bias binding with some quilting cotton from my stash to finish those seams off on the inside, and everything else is encased in the lining. So the big question is, will I make the Amelia bomber jacket again? Probably yes, because I like the fit of it, I like the style. I just need to be careful when I'm putting that zip in the front and do it my way, not the way the pattern instructions tell you to do it. So yeah, sometimes we do know better than the pattern designers, don't we? So that can go in my wardrobe in rotation now for the rest of the summer, and I'm sure it's going to be a wardrobe staple and a workhorse for years to come. So really pleased with the finish in the end. Then I got a jeans button put on my hussar jeans, so they are completely finished now and can go on rotation in my wardrobe, and indeed they look amazing with the Amelia jacket. So that's an outfit all done. And then the fun began with the Otus dress from So Different Patterns. If you want to find out what it looked like before I drastically altered it, pop back to the vlog that I'll link below, where I show you what a disaster this looked when I first made it. But I brought it round. There'll be an image of me coming up here showing you what I look like in this dress. So basically I took 1.5 miles out from underneath the sleeves and created more shape in the sides. I also changed the neckline from a scooping round neck, which quite frankly is not flattering on me, and I changed it into a shallow V, which you've all agreed looks a lot better, which is great when everybody agrees with what I've done, because you don't always do. We can't get it right every time, can we? I've turned it up. It's ankle length, so a really swooshy autumn dress. I'm going to be able to wear this through, I would have thought, September, October as is, and then even through winter I can layer up. I could probably put a high neck polo neck underneath if I wanted to get rid of the cover up round the neckline, or wear a nice scarf with it and some boots, and I'll be able to wear this through the winter and brighten up my winter days. That's the plan anyway. So I'm all about couture finishes. Well, I'm trying to be. So we'll turn this dress inside out and fess up on how I've finished it on the inside, because there's no overlocking on this. Get me. Right, we'll start with the bodice. Now the bodice on the pattern was a single layer with facings. I did a lining for the bodice, front and back, and used that to encase the seams around the sleeve area. The sleeve seams and all down the side seams, I turned over the fabric before I sewed the seams and finished it with a zigzag stitch. So that's what that seam looks like. Nice neat seam finish and no raw edges there. Let's move on to the waistband. I've biased bound the waistband and then pressed it down towards the skirt with some narrow bias binding that matches the pattern. I've bias bound the edges of the pockets. I really like doing that. It adds a bit of weight to the pocket and makes them lie better inside, I find. And then I've double turned over the hem at the bottom and I've hand stitched it all the way around. So on the outside, you don't see a stitch line. It's just a nice, gentle, invisible hem. So there we go. That's the inside of my, we're calling it the Christus dress, aren't we? Because I changed it that much. It doesn't really bear any resemblance to the original pattern. That's the original pattern. Why I needed to change it, well, you'll have seen from the image of me the other day, swamped. If you've not seen it, bob back and watch it and then you can get it in context. But that is the finished garment inside out. Looks as good on the inside, well, maybe as the outside. So what we're going to do this week, some easy sewing please. Well, we'll see, won't we? Because at the moment something always seems to go wrong. I've got a few ideas of what I want to make, so let's have a look together. Now, yesterday I did a vlog all about 5 woven tops, so I want to get at least one of those tops made this week, and I've got it cut out ready. This is the fabric that I've cut it out in, and I want to make the frill sleeve top from So Different Patterns. I have made this before in my cream eyelash fabric, but I want to make it in a check and see how different it can look. So that's all cut out, ready to go. The second thing on my pile to do is a whip. I'm trying to do my whips this month. I've not done any for a couple of weeks, so we're back on the whips again. This is the Parvain toiletry bag. There are the images of it, and I've got about halfway through it at one of my socials and then never come back to it. So I'm going to try and get that done this week, hopefully, because my plans are for that, I'm sorry, C word, you know, that date on the 25th of December, the end of the year. I'm trying to plan my gifting as I go through the year. So somebody is going to get one of the Parvain toiletry bags. I'm going to fill it with some of the lovely toiletries that I know they use. So I need to get that one finished for sure. And then the third thing on my list this week, well, there's 2 garments, but so that's 4 things, we'll see if I get them done, is to use these 2 beautiful fabrics. And I want to make the new Mellow free pattern from Maison Fauve. And I want to make them in this stripy fabric with cream accents down the sides. And then I want to make a top to go with it. I've already discussed this in a lot of detail, but I'll refresh your memory, or if you're new to my channel, you won't know about it. I want to team it up with the Helen's Closet Gilbert top. Love the top, not made one for yonks, so I want to make another one. I want to do the one with the tie waist and the short sleeves, so I want to make it in the cream and gold stripe fabric with this fabric as the accent, probably the back yoke, underneath the ties at the front and the collar, just to make a smart cord set out of it. So that's plan number 3. As if I've not got enough to do. And the other thing I want to get done this month, this month, catch up with it, is these are part of my abstract star quilt, I think it's called, something like that, from Sweet Pea Designs. And I've used my fabrics as I've used them to make garments with throughout the year. So that was my loungewear set that I made in January. That one is a cardigan that I made. That one is a pair of check trousers, the pearl pants that I made. That one's a blouse that I made. And there's going to be a star in each of the fabrics as the year goes on, and we'll see how big a quilt I end up with at the end of the year. But I'm a bit behind with it, so I need to work on this in between doing my sewing as well. So hopefully I'll get a few more of these made up this week, and I'll give you an update next Monday. I'm not saying I'll be up to date with it, but we'll see how far I get. The last thing I want to try and get up to date with this week is my sewing journal. Now, I've been really good and doing entries for and putting samples of the fabrics for everything that I've been making this year. But I've been a bit naughty and I've not filled it in for a while. The last thing I filled in was the Tribeca dress that I made from Maison Fauve. So how long ago is that? I made that for when I went on my Greek island cruise, which was at the end of May. So I've got all of June's sewing that I did that isn't in here, and what I've done so far in July. So that is very naughty indeed, but I'm going to get that up to date, hopefully by the end of this month, and then I'll feel a bit better about it, because I've put a lot of work into this and it'd be a shame for it to go by the wayside. I used a book that I got from Joanne Eden, who has a workshop over at Cedar Farm in Parbold direction. So if you fancy going and saying hi to Joanne and you want one of these books, they're actually meant to be artist sketchbooks, but they're beautifully made and they're covered in kimono silk. So, which is quite apt for a sewing diary, isn't it? So we're up to the Tribeca. There's a few to go in there, isn't there? So I need to get this up to date as well, and I'll let you know next Monday how I've got on with it. So what else am I doing this week? Well, I'm off to Steph's on Wednesday. Yay! For a sewing day. So hopefully I'll do a bit of filming over there and we'll have a natter together. If there's anything that you want me and Steph to talk about on Wednesday, then put it in the comments below and we will try and accommodate you. And that's the only outing I've got next week, so I should get loads of sewing done, shouldn't I? She says confidently. Not. I am going to try and keep my sewing simpler this week, using tried and trusted and true patterns that I know work for me, or if it's a new pattern, then keep it simple, and then fingers crossed I won't end up in the pickle that I ended up in last week with that flipping dress. So I hope you've enjoyed our little chat today. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll have a sewing day together. I think I might make the Sew Different top tomorrow. So that'll be a nice easy sew. You can see how simple it is to make, but how stunning it looks on when you've finished it. So I'll see you tomorrow and have an amazing sewing day. Thank you for sticking with me through July. It's the 20th today, so only another 10 vlogs to go. And I love the way you're all commenting and being supportive, and I didn't expect it to do as well as it has, certainly not so far. When you do these in December, by the time you get to the middle of December, the numbers of views have really started dropping off. We had a little bit of a dip after week 1, but it seems to be picking up again now. Keep watching, keep supporting me, and I love you all. Bye.